Hi, I'm Vince Ferragamo, former Los Angeles Rams quarterback, and you're on P8N Priv TV.
Welcome back, everybody. Here we are for another edition of P8N Priv TV in the second night of NFL free agency. And tonight we're going to have a special guest. Super Bowl quarterback Vince Ferragamo is going to join us from the West Coast. How do you feel tonight, Payton?
I feel wonderful. I'm excited. Another big day of big moves going on, so we're here to talk about it.
Okay. Well, the one thing we want to talk about having Vince from the Los Angeles Rams on today, we want to obviously talk about a lot of moves that have been made in Los Angeles by the Rams.
Right.
A lot of it seems to be motivated by cap space and the restrictions under the cap of how much money each team can spend. Any comment on that and any rumors that you're hearing?
You can certainly call this Bloody Thursday for the Los Angeles Rams. A lot of players dumped off, a lot of fan favorites. Most notably, Todd Gurley was released, and linebacker Clay Matthews was released. And the rumor floating around that's generally accepted as fact is that the Rams are very aggressively shopping wide receiver Brandin Cooks out for a trade at the moment.
Okay, well, without further ado, why don't we go to the Los Angeles Rams expert, Vince Ferragamo. Vince, how's everything out in the West Coast?
Hi, everyone. I'm Vince Ferragamo, former Los Angeles Rams Super Bowl quarterback, and it's good to be back on P8N Priv TV, reporting here from Southern California where it's raining and home of the Los Angeles Rams. Of course, we're right in the middle of free agency and before the draft for the 2020 season. We have to talk about a few things, especially what's going on here in Los Angeles and then with Tom Brady.
Well, we got to apologize for the weather, Vince, but it's great to have you. And why don't we talk a little bit about some of the moves that are occurring, due to the cap space, as you suggest, out there in Los Angeles.
First, I'd like to start out with Todd Gurley. Todd was released by the Rams. He was, the MVP a couple years ago, and he really added a lot of emphasis, and it was a big weapon for the Rams in the past years. Last year, his production was way down. He was limited in his role play because of his ailing knee, and he had just some arthritic conditions there. So the Rams had to let him go this year. They couldn't trade him, but they are still left with some financial dilemmas because of the salaries they paid out to Todd. So hopefully Todd will resurrect his career with another team. I think it was probably best for the team and Todd to end this way because the Rams really need to move on. They really have to have somebody who can produce and that position is key for the Rams, especially in their offense. So they're going to need to have a versatile running back to take charge. And they can't have somebody that's is not willing to go full speed.
Vince, I have to agree with you there. It's going to be sad for the fans of LA to have to see Todd Gurley go. I followed him through that 2018 season where he won the league MVP, phenomenal player. I'm sure he was beloved in that city, and it's sad to see teams have to make moves like this that are motivated exclusively by a cap ceiling or a salary capacity that prevents players from staying on certain teams. But as you say, he could have a career resurgence with another team, and it certainly helps the parity of the National Football League.
And that might not be the only move that the Rams are making due to cap space. Isn't that right, Vince?
Clay Matthews was also released. He came from Green Bay last year, and he was at his end of his career. And Clay has obviously seen all-pro years before in Green Bay and just wasn't able to get to that standard. So the Rams decided to let him go. Brandin Cooks is on the trading block as well. So maybe if someone would pick up that contract, the Rams have a little bit more money to spend. He is a fast, speedy receiver that gives the Rams a deep threat. But they do have quite a bit of depth at the receiving core, so that might make Brandin expendable.
Vince, you got a great point there for both guys. Obviously sad to see them both go. For Clay Matthews, maybe having played for Green Bay as long as he did, there wasn't a gel or a chemistry with his new Rams teammates. And then Brandin Cooks, obviously you and I know Brandin Cooks. He played a season in New England. Obviously tremendous player, but I agree with you. I think it's okay if the Rams let him go. They're very deep at that wide receiver position. They have, Woods, Reynolds, Cooper Kupp, a lot of other guys who can be that deep threat when needed for Jared Goff.
Great points. And Vince, finally, as a Super Bowl quarterback, why don't you give us your comments on the elephant in the room, or maybe we should say the goat in the room during this free agency season, and your opinion on Tom Brady and his potential signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And then the big talk this year was Tom Brady. Tom leaving New England. I think that Tom was obviously he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. One of the most prolific quarterbacks we've seen in recent years. Just that new chapters don't always end well. And I always felt that he would stay in New England. He was very comfortable in that setting, had a very good control of the offense, good grasp of the offense. Bill Belichick and Bob Kraft obviously had a talk with them, and after that discussion, that's what I felt would be the most critical part. And if they both all felt that they were on the same page, that Tom would have stayed in New England. But as it turned out, Tom felt that he wasn't, in their plans for the next few years. So I think maybe this may be a farewell tour for Tom in Tampa Bay, I think.
Vince, thank you. I just got one more question for you regarding the Tom Brady situation. Obviously, he's got a brand new set of circumstances, new teammates, new coaches, new offensive system, etc. down in Tampa Bay. How do you think he's going to adjust to all of these changes?
Of all the teams that may have been interested, that would have been the best place for him to go because of Bruce Arians and the relationship that Bruce has with quarterbacks. And he can talk to Tom, and Tom can relate to Bruce what he feels would be a good offense. And who knows, there's this game of free agency today, and so I think a lot of players may want to go join Tom in Tampa and make a run at it. So, these new chapters don't always end well because of past years, what we've seen with Joe Namath, John Hadle, Johnny Unitas. There's been so many players, Joe Montana, and then most recently Nick Foles moving on. So I think players, especially quarterbacks, develop a confident role in their play at a particular team, and they feel very comfortable there. When they move on, it's a big adjustment to make, and it's very difficult. So that's my take for this go-around. Lots of luck, and I hope everybody enjoys the upcoming season, and best of luck to everybody. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Vince. And we apologize again for the weather out there on the West Coast, but you are always such a stalwart of P8N Priv TV, and we thank you for your loyalty, your friendship, and always all your help and support. So there you have it, everybody. This is our second night of free agency and a special edition of P8N Priv TV. For Payton Privitera, I'm Phil Privitera, and you're watching P8N Priv TV.